Yo guys, what's going on? Acez is here today with another video. In today's video, we are going to talk about the comparison of performance between BSG server online raids and local raids for PvE. Do me a favor, make sure you're dropping a like on this one here today, and of course make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more PvE content. So I already know the results of the PvE online raids, but I don't know the exact results we're going to get from a PvE local raid. So we are going to head into that. We're going to see what our FPS is and go from there. So just for full transparency for this video, this local raid will be a practice training raid, but the AI is set to the same amount as online. So no worries there. Rogues will be there, PMCs will be there, all the scavs will be there, same exact amount as online. Just wanted to be completely transparent here. So like when we are looking at training raids and local raids, they're exactly the same when it comes to the performance because, you know, training raids are essentially local raids. They're exactly the same. So we're going to start this up. We're going to be heading to a very specific spot where I recorded the online portion of this video. And we are going to be using this weapon because I want to have the same exact scope and look at some of the same exact angles to get a little bit of a, variety of comparison for different spots and different FPSs, looking at, some of water treatment plant, all of water treatment plant and chalets, and looking towards Southern Road, stuff like that. So we're going to be checking out a few different benchmarkers, if you want to call it that. But we are loading up this training raid now. We're going to see the FPS standalone. We're going to see the FPS with double rendering. Then I'll show you the clips that we took from an online raid. And then we'll talk about, at the end of the video, what needs to change, in my opinion. So, all right, this is perfect. This is actually exactly where I wanted to spawn. There's an AI over here. I might have to take him out, but... Alright, so right about here is where you're going to see me show you the online clip. So, let's look towards the left with a little bit of, the shoreline in frame here. We're sitting at 55 to 57 frames. And then scoped, we are at 44... NVIDIA's showing me 43. Drop down to 40. 35. Okay. So now let's move over a little bit. Now we're pretty much looking at both chalets. A little bit of water treatment plant's going to be on our left somewhere. And then to the right, maybe the helicopter's in frame. So scoped, we're looking at... Let's look up just a little bit. Scoped, we're looking at 47. Unscoped. Is that a 59? We got a 59 in there somehow. 56. Okay. So now looking towards Southern Road. Pretty much not even increasing. Let's look off to like the lighthouse a little bit in frame. Not increasing, looking this way at all. Still, 55, 56, 57. Scoped. 47 frames. The reason this is important is because of how insane the difference is in an online raid on BSG servers. So let's hop over to that clip, and then we'll wrap this one up on why something needs to change. All right, so I am currently on Lighthouse, and I'm recording another video right now, but I wanted to use this as the comparison for when I show you a local raid. So looking towards water treatment plant, I'm getting about 79 to 80 frames. And then, looking towards Southern Road, obviously there's a lot less map. We're getting about 110. So we are near the one scav extract. I can't remember what it's called right here, but this is where we're at. And this is on an online BSG server raid. So this is the frame rate I'm currently getting, and looking towards the chalets, you can see probably a little bit more of the map actually loading in this site frame. You got village, chalets, probably water treatment plant to the left as well. So 75 frames. We're going to come back to this spot in a local raid, and I'm going to show you how bad it is. But with a scope on an online raid, looking at the worst part of the map, 57 frames. All right, looking towards water treatment, about the same, but it's about 60. 60 is playable. And then looking towards Southern Road, getting about 70, 72 in a scope. So when we come back here with this same exact gun, you're going to see how bad the performance is on local raids. All right, so I want to be very clear that I have a pretty mid-range system. I got a 3070 Ti, a Ryzen 7 5800X, 32 gigs of RAM, DDR4 3200, and then of course Tarkov is installed on an SSD. I don't think that is a low-end system in my opinion. It's not the top of the top, not the best of the best, but it's a pretty mid-range system to be running Escape from Tarkov on. And I am pretty much running on all low settings across the board, and I even optimized the PC to favor Tarkov's performance when the game is open. Across the board, I did every single thing that I could to favor Tarkov's performance. There needs to be some sort of option to allow us to toggle local raids on and off. For some of us who are okay with waiting 2 to 3 minutes when it comes to a difference in 40 to 50 frames, it's something that needs to be optional. Or BSG can look at some of the more resource-intensive maps like Lighthouse and just make them online only. Streets of Tarkov, if it was a local raid, would probably fry your entire PC, and that's why they had to keep it for online only. When it comes to Lighthouse, it's a large map. Ground Zero is pretty similar. It kind of depends on the weather, the time, if you're using a scope as well. It's tolerable, but, you know, when it comes to Lighthouse, in my opinion, 42, we got down as low as 35 frames. You know, that is not an acceptable performance when it comes to a map like Lighthouse, especially when you're in the water treatment plant. You need to have a scope to snipe the rogues off of the guns. You need a scoped rifle, and because of double rendering, that is not really something you can do. And you have to have a buddy to load you into a raid. You have to take 5 minutes out of somebody else's day just for you to get the proper performance you should be getting on maps like Lighthouse. Now, for myself, I have a really crappy PC that I just put one of my standard accounts on, and I can load myself into an online raid whenever I want. Not everybody has that luxury, and if they don't have any friends because they're mainly a solo player anyway, and that's not a dig at anybody, just no friends that want to load them into a raid for them, you know, it's just like you have to take time out of somebody else's day if you don't have a second PC or a second standard account with PVE. That's $70. You know, it's like, it's something that needs to be optional for players, and BSG need to, you know, somehow implement that into the settings, into your server selection, somewhere. Even if it's as simple as when you load up a raid, and right here, if there's a little box, like right here, local, or, you know, you could have local checked here, online checked here. Just very simple, a very small checkbox to the UI, something like that. I don't know how you would implement it. You'd probably do it in your settings. It probably wouldn't be here, but I'm just spitballing ideas because we need to see this change. It's not just me having these issues. It's a lot of players who love Escape from Tarkov, but find it somewhat unplayable on local raids. Now, to some people, 45 frames, that's enough. That's enough to get them through the raid, and they'll still enjoy the experience. Myself, when I'm going from 100 frames to 45, that is not acceptable performance. It is not. It is so noticeable, especially if you guys have, you know, better monitors, 144 hertz, 240 like myself. You can notice the performance difference, and especially when you drop under 60 frames a second, it is not playable in my opinion. So we need to see something change from BSG. Let me know what you guys think. I've been wanting to make this comparison video for a while. If you want to see how bad it is on your system, there is a way you can do it. Load up whatever map you want, just like we did on the training raid, and then go into that same raid in that same exact spot on your scav. And even better if you have a scav that has a sniper with a scope or a rifle with a scope. That way you can see the double rendering and see the differences. Every single scav raid is on BSG servers, so you can get a full range on every single map, except for labs, really, for your scav runs anyway. You could do it by getting a buddy to load you into labs. But you can check out every single map and the comparison to it, except for Streets of Tarkov, because they're online anyway. So that's just something I wanted to make you aware of. Scav raids are online if you wanted to test this for yourself and see how much performance you're losing in your local raids. But for me, it's like a 50% cut, and that's too much. And I really hope BSG can make this a setting where it's like, hey, let's play on their servers. Let's not do local raids because we're just not experiencing the game how it's supposed to be experienced. Do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.